Hello everyone, I'm Jay from TechForce, and 2 days ago I passed my CISSP exam, right? So today we're going to talk about what resources I used and how did I do it and my exam experience, right? Many people are asking about it, so I posted my exam result online about saying I passed and all that, and a number of people reached out to me. But this is something I do as well. Whenever I achieve something, I usually share so that others can benefit, right? So first things first, I'm not a security genius as such, so take my advice with a pinch of salt. But here it is. I have passed the CISSP 2 days ago, 23rd of October 2020, right? Okay, so my background, I worked in IT for 7 years as an IT manager, and then I left my job, set up a IT support company. I sold that part of the business, and same company retained the brand and focusing on cybersecurity heavily for the just over a year, for last 1 year. So I thought it would be good for my credentials, and also gives me more confidence as well. And it is a certification looked up to by a number of people in industry. It's considered high regard, and it is one of the most difficult certification exam you can take. So combining all those factors, I thought it would be really good for me to go and get the certification, right? And long story short, as of May 25th, 2019, almost 18 months ago, I have attempted the exam. I went for a boot camp where 6 days they will train you from A to Z in CISSP, and then on the 6th day you write at the exam. It's optional, it's up to you, but I chose to do the exam, and I failed, right? I failed. So I got 150 questions at the time, 151 at the time, and my instructor was saying, if you get 151, you have to answer the last question right. That will probably decide whether you fail or pass. Anyway, I remember my last question till today, which I'm not going to share here, but yeah, I answered it wrong and I failed. As you can see, when you fail, they will give you list of domains and how you did it in each domain, right? So yeah, that's what they do. And then I wanted to do the exam again in 30 days. It was just when they striking it when the irony is hard, right? So, but I scheduled it, but I couldn't do it because I run a business here and a number of things. Life took over and I couldn't do it, right? And then I postponed, but I couldn't do it again. Anyway, so this lockdown happened in March, and our business has slowed down a little bit, and I thought this would be perfect opportunity for us to work on the business, also for myself to go and get the certification. And I scheduled my exam. Well, I didn't schedule at the time, right? But I started preparing. I bought a course, online video course, and I started preparing. I thought I would schedule as soon as lockdown restrictions are lifted, so that exam centers would open. Because CISSP, there is no remote proctoring, no online exam. You have to go to an exam center and do the exam, right? So I prepared for a couple of months, and then I was waiting for the exam centers to open. I think they opened in July. I saw a few dates. I thought, right, well, I'll leave it for a week. I'm not confident yet, and then I'll book it. And within a week, all those dates are gone. And the next date I could find is 23rd of October. And I booked it, right? And 2 months I lapsed. I didn't study at all. And then 6 weeks, 7 weeks before the exam again, I started studying slowly, getting more serious, right? So I'll share all the resources I used, as well as what plan I approached and how I did the exam and the exam experience, right? So just to let you know, this is the pass report. When you pass, they don't give you any modules as such. They just tell you, congratulations, you passed. I did hear that IC Square will send you an email with the detailed score report and all that, after 3 days or whatever. So I'm still waiting, right? So resources I used. Before the resources, right? Find out why you're doing the exam. For me, I told you why I did the exam, right? So if you have a why, a strong why, you won't give up. You will get there eventually, right? And then once you decide to do the exam, first things first, schedule it, right? Book the exam, right? Trust me, book the exam. Once you book the exam, then you know you have a deadline, you are working towards it, right? Everybody is different depending on your experience, depending on your skill level, depending on your style of learning, style of studying. You could give it 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. I have seen people given 1 year. I have seen people given 2 months or 1 month as well, right? So it's up to you. I have, as I said, I prepared for 2 months, but it was ad hoc basis. An hour here, hour there. An average, probably I was spending 45 minutes to an hour every day. And then, but 6 weeks lead up to the exam, I was spending 1 hour a day. And then 2 weeks lead up to the exam, I was spending 2-3 hours a day and more on the weekends. And a week before the exam, not week before, 5 days before the exam, I was pretty much doing eating, sleeping, CISSP, right? So schedule the exam, make a plan how you're going to do it. What resources are you going to use? I'm going to share some resources just now, but once you pick the resources, how you're going to approach them. Like if you're a book person, if you're a person that like to read, or if you're a person that like to watch videos, I'm the later. I like watching videos. I'm not a big book person. Make a plan. So you're going to read this book. You're going to finish this book by this date. You're going to finish this video by this date, and you're going to finish these practice tests by this date, right? So make a plan. So the resources I have used, first time, as I said, I went to boot camp in the Firebrand training. I have some knowledge. I retained some knowledge from that, especially not technical, but about the exam, how to do the exam. That was really useful. And then when I started again this time around, I bought Thor Peterson video courses on Udemy, right? Really inexpensive. I think I spent around £12 per video course. Each video course had two domains of CISSP. I'm sure you know CISSP, number of domains and all that. If you don't know, just stop watching this video, right? So 8 domains, 4 times 12, and then I bought some practice questions as well from Thor Peterson. And then I have bought 11th hour CISSP from Eric Conrad. I bought the Kindle version, and then I have bought official IC Square CISSP practice questions as well. And I have used Sunflower CISSP. I have used whenever I was running, I'm a runner, so whenever I was running, I used to listen to Skillset CISSP videos on YouTube. And then finally, I discovered Rob Witcher mind map videos on YouTube, free CISSP mind map videos by Rob Witcher. Brilliant, awesome guy, awesome explanation, awesome videos, right? I will link all those links in the description of this video, but these are the predominantly more resources I have used. I have watched odd videos of Kelly Anderhan here and there. I like her way of explanation, right? When I was struggling with Kerberos, when I was struggling with remembering or OSI layer protocols and all that, and something else, aggregation and inference, right? It's when I know it's easy now, but at the time I was struggling to understand the difference. So I watched Kelly Anderhan videos, and example she gave was awesome. Thanks, Kelly. Right, so these are the resources I have used. Thor Peterson, Eric Conrad, 11th hour, Kevin Henry, bootcamp stuff, Sunflower CISSP, IC Square official practice test, Thor Peterson practice test, mind map videos from Rob Witcher, and Skillset videos from I don't know the guy's name, but he makes the videos on YouTube. IT Dozo, I have watched a couple of videos for a couple of his questions. Colin, I think his name is Colin. Yeah, Colin Weaver. Couple of questions on his channel as well, a few questions. Luke Ahmed, I have joined the Facebook group of Luke Ahmed Study Notes and Theory. I try to answer a few questions there as well. I have taken his 10 sample questions before purchasing the practice questions. I didn't purchase the practice questions. I didn't purchase anybody else's apart from Thor Peterson and the official IC2 ones. I plan to do it, but I just didn't have time. As I said, I have a business to run, and I am doing this on my weekends and evenings. So, and I have a family as well. It was tough, but you have to have that dedication, determination. You have to find the time. You have to have that support. It's not easy. Trust me, CISSP is not easy. Anybody will tell you the same thing. It's brutal. It's a brutal exam, right? Which we'll get to in a minute about the exam. So I believe you have seen this again, right? So the approach I have taken, when I started studying for the exam, I was going through a few blogs and few videos on YouTube, and some information on Reddit, and as well as a few other places, right? But here is the summary I gathered. 50-50, right? 50% of the studying or watching videos or whatever, 50% learning and 50% practice questions. Some people say 60% practice questions, 40% learning, or other way around, but I have taken a 50-50 approach. And some people, I have seen comments lately, don't do any practice questions as well. I know people who pass the exam without doing the practice questions as well. But it totally depends on the person you are, how do you like to learn, right? But doing the practice questions was really helpful for me, really useful. It actually put me in the mindset of the exam, because most of the practice questions exam questions are totally different. You do not see the type of questions asked in the exam anywhere else. Trust me, they are they are brutal. They will test you like hell. So I have heard Luke Ahmed practice questions are closer, or Sean Harris practice questions are closer to the exam as well. But I haven't done them. I have done 10 of Luke Ahmed's sample questions. They were difficult. First time I scored 60%. I thought that was good. And I have done 70 free questions on Pocket Prep iPhone. I think they changed the name now with Mike Chappell, I think the author of the questions. I have done, there were 70 free. I did 70 free. They were okay. Again, I scored 70-80% industry average. So that was good. Mainly Thor Peterson and IC2 official practice questions. One thing I'll tell you, as I said, you can't see exam questions anywhere else. And one thing I noticed was most of the practice questions are technical. They're asking straightforward questions. What's the answer for this or that or this or that. You know the answer, right? But in the exam, you have scenarios and all sorts, right? I can't share more than that due to the NDA, right? And also protect the profession. But IC2 official ones, official IC2 exams, practice tests, they were they were tough. Maybe I wasn't good enough, I don't know, but they were tough. I remember going through all the chapter questions. I was reading the Eric Conrad's 11th hour CISSP. After each chapter, I was doing the IC2 official test questions. Oh man, they are hard. And then when I finished the chapter practice questions, I did the mock practical test, where you would have 123 questions per test. There are 4 different tests. I did the first one, and I thought I did really bad. When I clicked the end, I literally closed my eyes, and I was thinking I get 50-55% or something. But I ended up getting 81, which was huge boost and huge confidence. At that point onwards, I thought, I can do this. This was 4 days before the exam. So I did the practice test on Monday. My exam was on Friday. Okay, so that's about practice questions and the approach I have taken lead up to the exam. As I said, from 6 weeks before, I was just ramping up my efforts, increasing 10 minutes, 15 minutes every day, here and there, and more time on weekends and all that. But 2 weeks before the exam, I made a plan on what to do in these 2 weeks. I have set up the milestones about I need to finish Eric Conrad's 11th hour CISSP maybe twice. I wasn't able to do it, but that was the goal. I got a number of distractions, so hopefully you can do it. And I thought a week before or 10 days before the exam, I bought the IC2 practical test questions. I set up a goal to finish them as well, but I only finished about 1,200 questions, I believe. Around 1,200 questions. There are about 1,300 questions in total. I finished 1180 before the exam, so I missed one final practice test. I did 3. I thought that was enough. So that was my approach, and then I set up a goal to do the Sunflower CISSP as well. If you have time, please, if you're going for the exam, do read Sunflower CISSP. It's brilliant. If you can, do it twice or thrice. Although it says it is 37 pages, but each page has like tiny text and 3 different sections, so technically it is more than 100 pages. Take your time, go through it. They were really, really useful. And then, Rob Witcher mind map videos, whenever I was having dinner or walking to the work or wherever, right? Sometimes I'm running. I used to watch or listen to these videos. And the guy from Skillset CISSP, he was more elaborated in the sense that he was explaining each topic, 6-7 minutes videos each. So per domain. I was following that as well. So that was good. On the exam day, right? The exam was in Glasgow. I live in Aberdeen, best part of Scotland. Scotland is the beautiful country, right? So I had to drive 3 hours from Aberdeen to Glasgow for my exam center. I previously, couple of weeks before the exam, I thought I would drive on the exam day itself, because my exam is at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But as I get closer, I just thought, no point, taking risk, or if car breaks down or whatever happens, I do not want to miss this exam. And because simply I couldn't find another date for another 4 months. So, and I know what happens if I leave it for another 4 months. I can't do it again. So I decided to go night before. One of the things Kevin Henry, when in the boot camp, he was saying, as well as many people were saying, were have a really good night's sleep on the day before the exam, and also try not to study anything on the final day or on the day of the exam or 24 hours prior to the exam. Don't you have enough time preparing for the exam, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, and you can't try not to do anything, one day, 24 hours before the exam. Just try not to learn, try not to learn anything new, right? Just don't, it causes you stress and pain. So anyway, so I went there, I had a good sleep. I thought I had a good sleep. I couldn't sleep till the late night, but I woke up late and all that. And on the morning, I was still trying to but I was still doing some practice questions. I had about 40 to go on my goal. I'll tell you something. When I was doing the practice questions, I set my milestone. I was slipping my milestone every day. So I was only achieving like 75% of my milestone, and then 25% going into the next day. As I said, I have tons of other things to do as well as this. So anyway, this was top priority though for the last few days. So then I went into the test center. Please make sure you go to the test center much ahead of your time, at least half an hour ahead. My test was around 1 o'clock. At 1 o'clock, I turned up at the exam center in the car park at 11:15 or something like that, half an hour or half 11. And then I've been trying to get into meditation, so I tried to meditate. I did meditate for 15 minutes, and as soon as I finished meditating, I have put my phone into do not disturb mode, and I zoomed into exam center. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to think about anything else. Just get in. I went in there. As I said, give yourself plenty of time, because there is a process of 20-25 minutes with your thumbprints, your palm print, your photograph, bloody blah, right? You can't carry anything else into the exam apart from your ID, and they will give you a notebook and a pen, just a notepad, not even notebook, and get in, right? So that's what happened. So I probably sat down at the computer screen around 11:30 maybe. I didn't know the time by this time because I can't wear anything. I left my watch and everything in the locker. So first things first, when you sit down for the exam, when you're at the computer screen, right? This is Kevin Henry said at the Firebrand Bootcamp, and it's very, very true. I have heard scary stories of people doing this. You will be presented with an NDA agreement on the screen, and that will only stay there for 5 minutes. And straight away, as soon as you sit down, accept it. As soon as you see that screen, accept it, right? That's it, accept it. If you want to read, you can read, right? I'm not saying anything against that, but accept it. After 5 minutes, your exam will be cancelled. You won't get your money back either, right? I have heard a couple of stories, people let that, time run out, and their exam cancelled. You can't do anything. You can't appeal, nothing. You can't do anything. So, accept it, because what happens is people trying to learn just before the exam, or trying to remember something, cryptography, or annual risk assessment, the risk calculation, whatnot, right? Protocol port numbers or whatnot. They're trying to remember something, and then as soon as they get there in front of the computer screen, they got the notepad. They want to dump everything they have in their head on that notepad. Meanwhile, the NDA screen is timing out, right? That's the stuff. So you want to accept the NDA, and then you can do whatever you want to do. Got it? Well, I accept the NDA straight away. I had about 3.5 minutes to go. By the time I actually went to the screen, it was already 1.5 minutes over. I accepted it straight away, right? And then I got something asking about, do you want to start the exam? Next screen will be your exam and all that. I remember Kevin saying there will be a small tutorial before you start the exam. That's what I thought. But when I click next, first thing I see is first question of the CISSP exam, right? And my timer was running 3 hours, 180 minutes, and it's countdown started, right? That's it. I saw the first question. It was okay. I thought I know the answer. I answered it. First 4 or 5 questions, I was comfortable. And then it started. It was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. I don't know. I wasn't 100% confident of any single answer after that. Maybe there were a couple here and there. But I thought they were the exam was taking me to extreme, like hard. And then when I answered them, and then I was getting some kind of easy or straightforward questions. And at some point, right, I started worrying. I'll tell you why. But before that, try to do 50 questions an hour. That's my advice. Right. As soon as I sat down, I did the NDA, and then what I wrote down on my paper was, on my notepad was, I said, trust your judgment. I actually wrote down, trust your judgment. Think like a manager. And I wrote down something else. And I wrote down 50 questions per hour. Nothing about information, technical management, nothing. I just wrote down these things, right? Just wanted to remind myself and take breaks and all that, right? So 50 questions, but an hour into the exam, I only did 35 questions. So I was technically taking 1.5 minutes per question. And as I said, after 5 questions, I wasn't very confident about any answers. So I thought I was failing. And when I saw easy questions, or not easy questions, but straightforward questions, around 70 questions, 70 mark or something, I thought I definitely failed. Why would I see these straightforward questions or relatively easier questions? I definitely failed. So at this time, I was preparing for 150 questions. I know I'm going to fail. Exam is going to ask me for 150 questions, or definitely more than 100 questions. I need to time this very well. So when I looked at the timer, I had about 70 minutes, and I've only done like 60 questions, right? So if you think about it, I had 90, if I get 150 questions, I have 90 questions left, but I only have 70 minutes. So I really have to ramp up. So I was trying to ramp up my efforts. Somehow while doing the practice test, I got into the habit of reading the question like twice or thrice. Twice is okay, recommendable, do the twice. But I was reading halfway through the question, I was reading thrice, and then halfway through I was doing twice and thrice. I don't know why, but I was doing that. I was doing the same thing in the exam, and losing time. So for you, if you ask me for my advice, I would say read the question once slowly, try to understand what they are trying to ask, and then read it again, and then read the answers. If they're saying best or most, you know the drill, right? There are more than one answer for the question, and then you have to pick the best answer, right? So that's happened. Weirdly enough, I thought there was one question, I thought they asked me twice, same question. I thought so. I don't know, but it was very, very similar, very exactly same, I thought. But first question was in the first 15 minutes or so, and the another question was around 1.5 hour, after 1.5 hour into the exam. So I can't really tell, but I thought it was same question. Anything else about the exam? Just time yourself, right? Time yourself. First 20-25 questions take time. Take 1 minute or 2 minutes per question, because first 20 questions are going to first 5 or 10 questions are going to define how you're going to take your exam, I believe. And also please remember, if you're getting 100 questions, there are 25 questions that are not marked for the exam, so they are testing you, but you don't know what they are. So I thought I figured one question that's not, because the terminology they used I never heard out of all the books and videos I have seen and read. So if you get something wrong, just leave it behind. Whatever happens, just leave it behind. There were 2 questions I thought I answered, and then I clicked next, and I immediately realized, oh, that was not the right answer. But what can I do? You can't go back in the exam. So you just have to move on. That's past is past. You can't change it. Just move ahead. And then at the 85 questions, I had like 50 or 60 minutes. And I was prepping for 150, and I thought I really need to ramp up. So I was literally reading the question only once and reading the answers, and I just tick next. Luckily, there were not huge questions like scenario, all that. But and I reached 100 questions. As I said, I was expecting more questions, but when I clicked the answer for the 100th question, click next, and the exam said, your exam is finished. Go and get the report. Go and collect your report and stuff. And this point I thought, oh man, it's done. I failed. I don't know how to show my face to my wife, my daughter. My daughter is only 3 years old, but she was learning to tell congrats to me, right? So and my mentor and a couple of friends, I said about the exam. I was thinking about all these things. What should I do if I fail? And I was at that time sure I was going to fail. And I walked out, and I asked the lady, can I have the report? And she said, no. Our process is you have to empty the locker first, and you have to show the ID. Then I will show you I'll give you the report. I can't. Yeah, I said, can you even tell it's a good news or bad news? She said, no. Our policy is you can't do that. So that was it's like 10 yards away, the locker, but that was the longest walk. I took everything from the locker. It was only my jacket. I packed everything in my jacket. It was easy, and I gave her the ID, and she actually folded the report, gave it to me. I had to open it, And when I opened, it said congratulations. I'm like, what the hell? I was literally screaming, shouting. I was crying, literally crying. Trust me. Yeah, thinking about this now, it gives me goosebumps, right? Months of preparation went into it. And it meant so much to me and my family. You know, they were really hoping I would pass, and everybody, my friends, supporting. And for me as well, I don't. I want to accomplish this, achieve this first, and the second thing is I don't want to do this again if I fail, right? So that's that. I know this is a long video, but I hope that has given you insight into what I did, how I passed. It is a tough exam, but you can do it. Trust me, if I can do it, you can do it. Don't just believe in yourself. Don't give yourself any excuses. I don't have experience. I don't have this. I don't have that. Just forget about what you don't have. Think about what you do have. Think about your strengths, and just go for it. There were, I think, a couple of areas I was really weak, or domains when I was doing the practice test, like, you know, software development and something else, cryptography, or security engineering. I was only scoring like 65%. But what I decided to revise them again. But I was still struggling with software development. I thought, you know, whatever happens, it's 10% of the exam. I know what the different testing types are and a few things like that. So I'll probably ignore that bit. I learned what I can learn, and then, you know. So I'm not suggesting you do that, but, you know, think about it. It's up to you what type of person you are, how you can learn. And as I said, you can pass. Anybody can pass it, right? You can pass. Make a plan. Pick the resources and execute the plan, right? Commit. You have to commit. Otherwise, you can't do this. Commit your time. If you have to give up your social stuff, give up. I literally didn't have a drink for 3 months. The last time I drank was, I had a beer, was 25th of July. So I thought I was going to have a drink after my exam, but I didn't. I didn't want to ruin that. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is, you know, make your priorities and go for it. You can do this exam. It's doable. It's achievable. One of the important things on the exam day, I forgot to tell you, on the exam day, I watched Kelly Anderhan's video. I think twice I watched it. Kelly Anderhan's video about why you will pass CISSP. Make sure you do that as well. Absolutely. On the exam day or day before the exam, you watch Kelly Anderhan's video on YouTube, why you will pass CISSP. You will like it. It will help you a lot. A night before the exam, I found this blog. I can't remember what it is, but I will link the PDF file or the link in the description below. It was about 7 pages PDF. The guy wrote something about how to remember different, like, incident response stages and different stuff, IPsec and whatnot, OSI layer and all that. It was useful. I thought. I really liked this drum roll for incident response. So anyway, I hope that helps. That's pretty much it. But if you have any further questions, if you need any further information, just leave the comments below. Please don't ask me about what questions were there in the exam. It's not something I'm going to give you or I'm going to discuss. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. Yeah. Anything else? I have made a video every day on the last 3 days before the exam, including the exam day. So if you want to watch it, I will leave the link as well. Go and watch it. Yeah, I'm really chuffed. If you can't tell, man, it's super hard. It's super hard, but I did it, right? You can do it. Anybody can do it. Have a plan, execute the plan. Ask for help. Thank you very much.